On June 10, 2026, a leaked document revealed a synthetic peptide called FEPX hidden inside America's best-selling plant-based burgers, dosed at a precise 0.001%, tested only on rodents for 90 days and never reviewed by the FDA. It was engineered to keep you coming back. The plant-based meat trap is not about health. It is about chemical addiction, and the industry playbook behind it was borrowed straight from tobacco. June 10th, 2026. The headlines did not just break a story. They shattered an illusion. The Freedom of Information Act release named the additive Flavor-Enhancing Peptide X, spelled FEPX, dosed at only 0.001% in the nation's top-selling plant-based burgers. The documents showed that FEPX was never reviewed by the FDA, and the only safety data came from a single 90-day rodent study. Inside the company, a scientist, protected by anonymity, filed a whistleblower complaint. Their testimony revealed that the rollout of FEPX was not an accident or a slip through regulatory cracks. It was a deliberate, tightly managed process, green-lit in early 2025, tested in pilot runs by spring, and pushed to full-scale production by that November. The scientists described dose optimization trials, where teams fine-tuned the peptide's concentration to hit the crave threshold, enough to hook repeat buyers, but low enough to avoid detection. Internal emails, now public, show that long-term toxicology was never even planned. Within 48 hours of the leak, social media sentiment toward plant-based meat collapsed by 35%. Hashtags like #HiddenChemicals and #PlantBasedScam trended across platforms. Consumers who once believed in the promise of clean, healthy alternatives suddenly faced a hard truth. The industry's optimism had been built on secrecy and chemical engineering. The story was no longer rumor, it was evidence. At the center of the industry's transformation sat a single boardroom table. On March 14th, 2024, the executive team of the largest United States plant-based meat company gathered to discuss a new direction. The CEO laid out a target: cut raw material costs by 35% within 2 years. The solution, according to the meeting minutes, was not better sourcing or efficiency, it was chemistry. The Chief Research and Development Officer presented a model borrowed straight from the tobacco industry: dose optimization, a method designed to engineer maximum sensory impact from the smallest possible amount of additive. Instead of relying on expensive whole food proteins, the focus shifted to building a matrix of flavor, mouthfeel, and aroma using proprietary compounds. Sensory titration trials became the core of product development. Panels of testers sampled burger after burger, each batch nudged closer to the precise crave threshold, the point where flavor and texture would trigger repeat purchases. The board's minutes described this as titrating to the sensory threshold, a process that allowed for cost control without sacrificing the engineered appeal that kept customers coming back. Internal communications show that the marketing team was briefed on how these additives could be listed under vague terms like natural flavors, keeping the real recipe locked behind trade secrets. This approach was not about nutrition or transparency. It was about building products that consumers would struggle to resist, all while quietly slashing ingredient costs. The playbook was clear: treat flavor like nicotine, dose just enough to hook, never enough to alarm. The result was a new generation of plant-based meats, meticulously engineered for addiction-like appeal and optimized for profit over purity. The legal shortcut that made this chemical engineering possible is known as the GRAS loophole, short for generally recognized as safe. Under U.S. law, food companies can declare an ingredient safe on their own authority, skipping formal FDA review if they claim it is already recognized by experts. There is no public hearing, no requirement to notify the agency, and no independent toxicology. By 2026, An environmental working group audit counted 111 substances in plant-based meats that entered the market this way. These included synthetic mushroom isolates, concentrated green tea extracts, and proprietary flavor enhancers, many never evaluated for long-term health effects. The FDA's own database confirms that none of these 111 additives has undergone a full agency safety review. Instead, manufacturers submit self-affirmed dossiers, often built on short-term studies or unpublished data. Once a company signs off, the ingredient can appear in products nationwide, sometimes hidden under broad terms like natural flavors. This regulatory vacuum did not happen by accident. The Plant-Based Foods Association, representing the biggest brands, spent over $2.3 million between 2024 and 2026 lobbying Congress and the FDA to keep the self-affirmed GRAS pathway intact. Meeting logs and campaign filings show more than 30 closed-door sessions with lawmakers and agency officials. The industry argued that mandatory FDA review would stifle innovation and slow climate-friendly alternatives. Meanwhile, the real effect was to open the door for a flood of novel chemicals, engineered for sensory impact, optimized for cost, and shielded from public scrutiny. In this environment, the plant-based label became less about nutrition and more about marketing, with consumers left to trust claims that regulators never verified. A shopper picking up a plant-based burger today will likely pay about 30% more than for a regular beef patty. That price gap isn't just a blip on the shelf. Retail audits from 2025 and 2026 confirm it across nearly every major grocery chain. The average plant-based patty sits at $5.99, while beef hovers around $4.59. Even plant-based chicken strips and sausages carry a similar surcharge, with manual store visits showing a steady 30 to 34% premium, regardless of promotions or region. Inside the package, the numbers tell a different story. Only about a quarter of what you pay for that premium burger actually goes to protein, the ingredient most shoppers believe they are getting. SEC filings and supplier invoices show that pea or soy protein makes up just 24 to 28% of the cost to manufacturers. The rest is split between hydrogenated seed oils, industrial thickeners like methyl cellulose, and a suite of proprietary flavor complexes. Many of these are protected under the GRAS loophole, letting companies load up on ultra-processed, dose-optimized additives while keeping real costs down. Consumer surveys reveal the perception gap. Nearly 7 out of 10 buyers believe they are paying extra for superior nutrition. The reality is that the premium often buys a matrix of industrial ingredients, engineered for shelf life and mouthfeel, rather than genuine health benefits. For many, the result is a lighter wallet and a product that is more processed than promised. Lab analysis draws a clear line between beef and its plant-based counterparts. A 4-ounce beef patty supplies 2.4 micrograms of vitamin B12, enough for an entire day. Most plant-based burgers contain none unless fortified, and even then the added B12 is absorbed at only 1/10 the rate of the natural form. Heme iron, present in beef at 2.6 milligrams per 100 grams, is missing entirely from these alternatives. Instead, they use non-heme iron from peas or soy, which the body absorbs poorly, often less than 10%. Zinc follows suit. Beef offers about 4 milligrams per serving, most of it available for use. Plant-based patties list about 1.5 milligrams, but much is locked away by phytates, blocking absorption. Clinical reports make the issue personal. A 29-year-old vegan who ate plant-based nuggets developed macrocytic anemia and high homocysteine, classic signs of B12 deficiency. Recovery took months of supplements and fortified foods. Another case involved a woman who ate 4 plant-based burgers daily and developed zinc deficiency and recurring skin infections, which resolved only after she switched to a zinc-fortified option. Nutrition scientist Dr. Peter Cohen notes that while these products mimic meat's taste, they often lack or poorly deliver B12, heme iron, and bioavailable zinc. Large studies in Denmark and Australia now link high intake of processed plant-based meat to rising anemia and hidden hunger. Standing in the grocery aisle, the label is your only defense. Here is a 7-step toolkit for cutting through the marketing fog and spotting ultra-processed plant-based meats before they land in your cart. First, scan the ingredient order. If water, oils, or methyl cellulose appear before any whole protein, such as beans, lentils, or tofu, you are looking at a product built on fillers, not real food. Second, check for the word isolate or concentrate. Pea protein isolate and soy protein concentrate are industrial byproducts, not whole foods. Third, hunt for vague terms like natural flavors, yeast extract, or spices. These are often catch-alls for proprietary chemical blends, sometimes hiding dose-optimized flavor enhancers that never faced FDA review. Fourth, look for red flag additives, methyl cellulose, carrageenan, and modified starches. These thickeners and binders are the backbone of ultra-processed texture engineering. Fifth, scan for fortification. If vitamin B12, iron, or zinc are listed only in the fine print, the product likely lacks the nutrients you would get from real meat. Sixth, test transparency. Are all ingredients clearly named, or are there proprietary blends and trade secret formulas? If you cannot pronounce an ingredient or trace its source, think twice. Seventh, count the total number of ingredients. More than 10, especially if most are unrecognizable, is a classic sign of ultra-processing. With these steps, you are not just shopping, you are running quality control. Every label is a window into the factory, and now you know how to read it. Today, over 90% of plant-based meats on US shelves are ultra-processed, built from unreviewed additives and chemical matrices that mask hollow nutrition. As labels grow longer, real transparency shrinks. The power now lies with consumers armed with knowledge, ready to expose the illusion and demand food that truly nourishes.